Welcome to Pavullo for the finale of the Sailplane Grand Prix Series 11. It's day 5, race 2. And first, before anything else, let's watch the highlight of yesterday. It was a great race.
And welcome to this Sailplane Grand Prix final. We are day 4, race 1, unfortunately, after 3 days cancelled. And the weather is still not so cooperative. So they had to make a task in this morning, which was just 120 kilometers length, just around Pavullo area. You can see the turn points currently on the 3D. But before going to the full race, we will enjoy the commentaries from the grid with some pilots. So let's go to Claire for enjoying the pilots on the grid.
How are you doing?
I think like everybody a bit excited, but not that much.
What will be your strategy? It's a very short race. What will be your strategy?
Can I tell you this evening? I think conditions are really poor, seem to be really poor, and even if it's a short task, story will be to remain as high as possible, I suppose. That is one point.
So a bit conservative today.
Really conservative, I think, yeah. But at the same time, in Grand Prix, you cannot be too conservative. So, yes, it's going to be exciting.
Okay, we will follow you. Let's see what Stefan just ran away. Let's go to see if Stefan is back. Stefan, did you have time to enter your task B?
Yeah.
Can we ask you a few questions?
Yeah.
Mainly, what do you feel about a very short task?
Yeah, the weather is not so good, so it's good to have a short task, and I would love to fly today, so I think there's no other chance to use this small window today with the weather. Let's see if it is possible. There are some cumulus clouds more in this direction, so the task B is in the better area, which is great. Yeah, looking forward to it.
A short task means no mistake possible. How are you dealing with that?
At the end, you can just fly and try your best, and yeah, then we will see the result at the end.
Okay, so you're not planning to be conservative?
Usually I have a look at the others, what they are doing. If it's a good idea, I join them, and if I think it's not a good idea, then I will try to make my own route.
Okay, let's see. We will follow you live, see how it goes. And we'll see if... Oh, I can see Giorgio with his FES to see what is. Giorgio, sorry. He's entering the task B. Yes, can we interrupt you a few seconds?
Yes, I change my task. Okay, I'm ready.
What is your minimal cumulus base to go cross-country around here?
I am not confident with the region, but I heard that the minimum is 1,400 meters over the sea, 1,500 meters. I heard from other pilots, local pilots.
Do you know what we have now under that?
I don't know what happens in the sky now. We will see flying. And it's a tricky day, very short. If you miss a thermal, you are at the last. And we will see. I try to do my best.
So clearly a different mindset for the pilots you could see with Giorgio Galetto and Stefan Langer. Very different, and we are back with pilots. Just before the start, they are circling together, and you make a pretty nice and smooth start on the start line. First is Stefan Langer already with Giorgio Galetto, Yankee, and Eric Borgman leading the pack on the start line. Really, really nice start. Just on the leg 1, way before the first turn point, we have already a spread with two groups of pilots. The right is Giorgio Galetto, making it really straight, and on the left is another group. making a detour, but at the end it's not paying at all. Already Stefan Langer is leading the group on the left, and you can see the speed with Giorgio Galetto flying 190. Before turn point 1, we have clearly two groups, and the group on the left will be really, really low in a few minutes, and they have a pretty difficult day for the starts. The group on the right, they are together, and already Stefan Langer is higher, making a better glide on the first leg, and everybody else is below 200 meters. But we are now closing to a first turn point. On the second leg, still some problems for Yankee Oscar, John Gatfield and Sri Victor Tilo Ligaos, way behind and lower, and they have to gain altitude before crossing on the plateau. We are now closing to the second turn point and close to the airfield of Pavullo again. And clearly, Stefan Langer made a long, long straight, reaching the area of Pavullo and getting a nice thermal close to the airfield, and all the packs chasing behind, joining him below. Again, 200 meters altitude benefits for Stefan Langer, and then he is making some detour following the lines of energy to reach the third point 3. I think everybody behind will make the same idea to follow this detour on a bit on the south and following the lines of energy in the sky. And again, Stefan Langer has this kind of 200 meters advantage when he reaches the next turn points. So we are now close to the third turn point, and Stefan Langer is again leading. And there is two chasing groups, one on the left and one on the right of the screen. And the guys on the right will not have any advantage. And at one point, Mike Young and some guys, they gained a lot of altitude, 1,900 meters. And this is one of the key points for the final of a race. So Stefan Langer is now closing to the turn point 4, chased by a group with Marek from Poland and Giorgio Galetto from Italy. But clearly he has an advantage, still with a lot of altitude extra, 200 meters. And he's now on the final glide for the turn point, control point, turn point 4, before reaching the final line. At one point, Sebastian Cawo is trying to push a lot, and he's making his own on the right of the screen, but he's lower and lower, and he has some difficulties. But clearly, the fact that Mike Young was higher, even if he was a bit behind, he was able to reach back to Stefan Langer, and he was really close to reach Stefan Langer, but not enough to make a win. So Stefan Langer is the first, and we will have a talk with him just out of the cockpit with Claire for his impression from this race. Bravo and congratulations to Stefan.
It was impressive. You take the lead really, really early on. How was it to know that you were on the lead and you keep it?
It was nice, the first leg, because there were some nice cloud streets and I tried to really follow them as much as I could. The problem was we were only allowed to fly up to 1,600 meters in this area. So we had a small margin where we can fly and pull up and thermal and so on. And there it was better to just fly straight in the energy lines.
You saw the others that were slowly catching up at the end. How was it?
Yeah, I've seen them, but I thought I just need to try to stay up and see what the others are doing. At the end, at a Grand Prix, you only want to win or be before another. It's not the time in between is not a matter. It's only the position. So it was a game at the end with Mike Young, I think. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was a really good race, really fun to watch. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
It was Stefan Langer who won the first race.
And the winner of the first race in the 11th Sailplane Grand Prix World Final is Stefan Langer in Sierra Lima. Sorry. Well done, Stefan. You see, that's what you get for flying without an engine. Well done, boys.
I hope you enjoyed the highlights. The race was really fun. We are now with Brian, director of the competition, and we will talk about today.
Thank you. Good morning, Claire. Again, we have a tricky day. We seem to have a lot of them. The forecast is for sunny morning, nice day. It's warm here. It's very pleasant in Pavullo. But during the afternoon, we expect showers to develop. Not thunderstorms, just showers, but a lot of showers. Convection with rain underneath. And of course, these can develop anywhere in the task area. So we make a first option is a race well to the south, 200-kilometer race to the south. And we hope that that goes in a gap between where we think the showers and the over-convection will be. But we can't be sure. So we have a task B, we're race B, which is a slightly shorter one. And now I go and make a race C, which goes in a different direction, yeah? So watch this space. Anything can happen today, and we just need some luck with the weather.
Thank you, Brian. And on the virtual side?
Oh, the virtual guys are having fun. They don't have to worry about showers. They put them in their profile, but they can move them around. We don't have that luxury. We have to try to guess where they'll be. And of course, we don't always guess correctly where they're going to happen.
Yes, let's see, a bit of luck. We keep our finger crossed. And we will see you on the grid.
And welcome to this Sailplane Grand Prix Series 11 final in Pavullo, Italy. As you just enjoyed the highlights from yesterday's race, it was really interesting. It was really, really fast. I would say short, not so fast, but short. A 1 hour flight total. And the win from Stefan Lange. It was really interesting to follow the race yesterday because we knew that when it's short like this, you make any mistake and then you can have some problems. And Stefan made perhaps close to perfect day for what it could be. But first, I want to talk about now today and the weather, as Brian was telling you a few seconds ago in the introduction of the day. The weather is still a bit problematic. It's better and better and better, but still problematic with some thunderstorms, some rain predicted coming from the southwest. But we are in a nice area for the task of today, and the pilots will go and enjoy the southeast of the area of Pavullo in the North Apennines. So weather better, forecast is optimistic. The gliders are already almost everybody is in the air. Perhaps we can show them on the airfield still taking off now. If you can get this view from the camera outside, yes, thank you for that, Remy and the edition team, studio team. So still 1 or 2, 3, I can see 3 pilots taking off in the next minutes. They started to take off at 1 o'clock, and you can see that it's now 1:43, and we take on almost 45 minutes to make all the 19 pilots in the air. Today is a bit longer because we decided to make it a bit more safe for the pilots to get the first thermal and to make a smooth start. So they are releasing at 800 meters above the altitude of the airfield. So this takes a bit longer, but it's also a bit safer and more fair, especially for the last pilots who are taking off now. So they will catch the first thermal easier. Perhaps we can see the first video from Stefan. He made some video from the cockpit, and we can have a first one, which is actually a takeoff. So you will enjoy what you can see from the cockpit when you take off from this beautiful airfield of Pavullo. I can tell you I did not fly. But yeah, you just enjoy this takeoff with Stefan. He was flying 123 of Tilo Legaus 2 or 3 days ago on a cancelled day. You can see that it was really overcast in the sky. And but Stefan Lange wanted to test fly the 123 because he never flew 123. He's normally flying a G29 from Schleicher company. And yes, this is the airfield of Pavullo with the runway. Going to the south, no, to the north, sorry. To the north, because it's much more open. And yeah, taking off behind a Robin DR400. And the airfield of Pavullo is in French we say a cuvette. So it's a higher point, but it's in a small bowl in this higher point. It's not on the big valleys. You can go below if you drop in one of the valley around. So it's a bit higher, but it's in a bowl. It's really beautiful. Then you can see this kind of pass and small hills around. We really enjoy, even if it was not perfect weather for now, even just going around and walking. It's a really nice area, and we know why the pilots they love this area. So let's go back to the last takeoff, perhaps on the grid. If you can see the last ones. I just get some more data and information from the tracking system. Perhaps you are all watching also some parallel tracking system. I know that you are using Glide and Seek and so on, all using the OGN network to get the data from the FLAM. So last one to take off now. And I think we will have information really soon from the competition director, Brian Spreckley, about when he will open the race. But let's focus now. We have some question on the morning. We are always questioning what will go on, what is the atmosphere, and perhaps we can go with Claire for the grid walk to ask some question for the pilots just before they took off a few minutes ago. Let's go back to Claire with the grid walk.
Welcome to the grid. We are race 2 of the Sailplane Grand Prix Final here in Pavullo. Let's see if we can find some pilots to talk with. I can see Petra. Hi. Can we talk to you for a minute? He was the first race yesterday. You now got a bit of feeling about these mountains. How does it work? Is that like Provence?
It's a little bit different from the Provence. I think the problem of this territory is the problematic airspace for us, because we have a limitation of the altitude. We have to fly only low above the ground, in the territory where it's impossible to land. This is a problematic. As Provence is very different, because we flew in the small mountain here, because the big mountains are on the thunderstorms yesterday and rain.
And from yesterday, what do you think was your mistakes?
My mistakes was one decision on the second part of the task, and I decide to go to the right side from the not to the right side, and other gliders go to the left side. The left side was a little bit better than the right side. I flew with Thomas Gestner, and our thermal was 2 weeks for it.
Okay, was it motivated by seeing Stefan so high and going front?
I don't know. I didn't see him this day.
You are flying the new 33 from Schleicher. Do you think it's the best glider for sailplane racing in the mountain?
I think this is very similar like a JS3 and Ventus 3. I like all gliders.
That's a very good answer. We will follow you in live today. Let's see if Klaus is around. Hi, Klaus. You did really well yesterday. Would you have changed something to make it just to the podium?
Okay, so it was a short task, so any mistakes are critical. And the first half I was position 3, 4, I think it was good. And then I did not get very good a thermal. And until I get all the other was coming as well a little higher, and so I was at position, I don't know, 12 or something like this. And I know if I make now the same, then every other I will come too late. And in the next thermal, all gliders was also together, and we didn't really climb. And I always feel there is pressure from the bottom. And then they went one after the other, and when they was away, I could circle for my own, and I take it up to the top, and could make from there the final glide. And the other one in front needed to search another thermal and struggled a little, and so I could fly over all them and coming from behind. And then I was fourth over the line, and I was really surprised when I was then third in the ranking, because Mike Alpha get some penalties, and finally the penalties was wrong, and so I'm still fourth. It's very good.
Yes, it was a very good strategy of staying high, maybe at the back and coming through. It was really fun to watch. And are you happy with the GS3 in a Grand Prix? You know also really well the GS1.
I think the GS1 is for the Grand Prix a little better, because it has more wing and could fly with higher weight. But I've flown the whole year the JS3, so I have the possibility to come with a JS1. But I fly the whole year this glider, and so I said better to fly a glider you know and everything fits, or if something does not fit, it's okay, you know it, than to take another glider for the Grand Prix. And so I'm happy, very happy with it. And it showed me yesterday that it is as good as the others. It's a really good glider, especially if you can have more weight.
Thank you, Klaus. And do we have maybe Dirk? 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 Hi. Can we ask you, it's your first final?
It's my first final, yes.
How do you feel about the first glide and the first thermal when everybody is together?
It's okay, but there are many, after the start line there are many gliders in one gaggle. So you have to be careful and to look after each other. But until now it was okay.
And was the first real race yesterday. Did you already learn something? The level is really high. Do you feel that you learned something yesterday already?
Yes, I learned that you have to always to go with the other gliders when they go forward. So because when they get in front of you a good thermal, they can get some extra altitude and then you are behind. And I have learned to do my start better, so I was a little bit behind, and then it's hard to get forward. So you have from the beginning try to be at the point at the start line. Yes.
Thank you. We will follow you in a live race in a few minutes starting. So we will go back to the studio.
And we are back. Thank you, Claire, for this question with the pilots. Yesterday, for the highlights, you saw also the grid work from yesterday. It was much more what to expect. It was the first day, first race, and the weather was really difficult. The prediction of the morning was difficult. Even just before taking off, it was still difficult to expect a really clear view about what was going on for the day. We had to change the race yesterday just by using also the information from the air with a sniffer. So the report from the sniffer, so the pilot who was taking off before the official pilots, he was giving back some information, so we could choose at the end the right task, and the pilots were able all to make the tasks, which was a relief for all the team here, and I think the pilots were really happy. Before we talk about the task of today, you can check it on the soaring spot, you can check it on the official website, but still I want to focus a bit more about the result of yesterday. Just for your information, we think that the start will make it at 14:20. Yes, 14:20. Thank you, Sebastian. So we still have 20 minutes waiting time before the race starts. And so I want to talk about yesterday, and we will see on the 3D rendering, we have for now the overall score from yesterday. Can we have this? Yes, thank you, Remy. So obviously Stefan Langer was winning. He made 10 points. Mike Young from UK is making 8 points second. Just between the two pilots, you have 46 seconds. In fact, in reality, you have only 30 seconds because Mike Young gets a penalty of 15 seconds. I think he was a bit too low on the finish line. And then third is Alberto Cironi from Italy with 7 points. And Klaus Kalmbar, we had this morning on the grid walk just a few minutes ago, is making fourth, followed by Maximilian Saiz from France and Gilles Navane from France. So all these pilots are in the points. And then Hermann Leuker, Sebastian Cava. We did not talk to Sebastian today, but I think we will have to make an interview in the next days. Because it would be interesting to know why he made this decision yesterday to make a quite risky, perhaps, decision to not win, but perhaps to lose more points. So we will see that in the next days. And the last to get points is Lukas Grabowski, also from Poland. And interesting is the 10th place. Being 10th means 0 points, and you start to become one of the pilots of, I would say, we call it the 0 points club, and all the pilots who want to go out of this 0 points club. Interesting about this 10th place is Giorgio Galetto from Italy. I'm sorry, Giorgio, I will focus a bit on you, but yesterday he made a mistake. You can see on the right part of this table, there is a column which is called penalty, and the penalties, you can see that for Giorgio Galetto, he has 85 seconds of penalty. On a normal championship, 85 seconds means, well, okay, I will lose 10 points out of 1,000 points of a day, which is close to nothing. It can make you world champion or vice world champion with 10 points, but you will not lose such a lot of points as Giorgio lost yesterday. He was supposed to be 5th of a day, but because it was a mass gaggle coming all together in few seconds, with just this 85 seconds penalty, he's on the back. And he's the 10th with 0 points at all. So he was supposed to make 5 points, and I'm sorry, Giorgio. But I just want you to focus on the fact that any penalty is really important in Grand Prix, because the scoring system is, we would say, a bit violent. It's like in Formula One. Okay, you're the first, you're the first. You're after the 10th place, you get close to 0 points, and that's it. So whatever the difference in time flight, if you are 1 minute behind or 10 minutes behind, it's not really important. The place is important, and if the place is so dependent on few seconds because it was a mass landing altogether on the finish line, then you drop back and you have close to 0 points. So again, I'm sorry, Giorgio, for you. But it was just to show that any penalty, so making a wrong start, and Giorgio made just a too fast start line. He made 184 or 187 km per hour instead of 170. So it's just 10, 15, 17 km per hour too much, too fast on the start line. But it was enough to making a complete loss of a day at the end. Whatever the lot of efforts and the best he made of the day, this small mistake was violent for the scoring. So this was one of the points of yesterday. Don't make mistake, but you can see that even Stefan Langer, he has 3 seconds of penalty, and so the winner of yesterday and Mike Young has 15 seconds of penalty. But they were able to have some distance to the followers, the chasing group. So they were safe to keep their points, even if they had some time penalty like this. So yeah, start will open in 22 minutes. And I will also focus on the pilots. We are expecting some of the pilots to be on the top. Sometimes not on the top on the first day, but we know that they are really good. They won before. And still they are not on the top at all. And I want to talk about Thilo Hollegaus on his Ventus and Didier Haus on his GS1. These two guys, they won. They are world champion not in title, because the last one who won was Sebastian Cava. But still, Thilo Olegaus and Didier Haus, they won in the past, and for now they are in the 0 points club. So it will be also really interesting, and I will focus during the race with Stefano, who is coming in a few minutes. But I will focus on the top ranking pilots for now, on the ranking of this championship. But also we will focus on these pilots, because we are expecting a reaction at the end from these pilots. They will react. They have to react. It's just 3 more races, including this one today, and so it's only 30 points together maximum. Perhaps 1 bonus point for the last day. Normally we have this rule for the winner. So I would say 31 points. So if a pilot is winning every day now on, so today, tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow, he will gather total 31 points, and the other less. So it's also, yeah, we are in this position that where the competition is short, just few days, just few races, not a lot of points to win, a lot of points to lose for sure, as usual. But if you want to be a winner, after a bad start on the last day, yesterday, with 0 points, you have to react now. And I'm sure they will react, and we will see that today. Let's focus now to introduce the task of the day. So if we can see the 3D, and I will introduce the task of the day. So we will focus a bit more. We are still in the north part of Italy, in the North Apennines. Really, really nice area. And before we go through the task, this is task B, just for your information. We designed, the contest direction designed 2 tasks, even 3 tasks this morning. A, a B, and then a C quite late before the takeoff. But at the end, focusing on checking the satellite view and checking from the ground and information from the air, they decided to go to the B task. And this B task is 170 kilometers length. And the start is just southwest of Pavullo. This is the start line. And they will go to the southeast for 81 kilometers. So we'll go through this first leg, you can see on the screen. So the start line is the green line at the bottom of the screen, and we go to the southeast for this first turn point. Interesting is, on this view, I don't know if you can really clearly see it. Perhaps you can focus just a bit more. Yes, we are just at the limit between the one of the highest peaks and slopes going to the southeast on these Apennines, and you can see on the right of this leg this big basin, much lower. So yeah, thank you for this view. So I believe, I'm not sure, I'm not a specialist for this area, but we will see with Stefano Giorzo when he's coming back. I believe that the pilots will keep it safe, I would say. So on the mountains and follow this ridge to go to the first turn point. But then perhaps we will have really key points of this task when we go to the second leg and the third leg. So second leg is really short. It's just 12 kilometers, but you can see that they are going through this basin. Okay, still some small mountains below, but clearly in a low valley. And then on the next leg, they will have to cross this basin completely. So I don't know what we will do. I'm a bit of a mountain pilot sometimes. So to make it safe, normally you want to go back as soon as possible to the mountains. So perhaps we will have to make it completely back as soon as possible to the right part of the screen and follow again this main line of mountains. Or if there is some energy somewhere in this basin, we will cross direct to the next pass. Can we go just a bit back, Sebastian? And can you focus just a bit on the right of this big lake? Okay, so there is the big lake at the bottom left of the screen. We are close to Borgo something. I don't know, sorry. I don't know all the names of the local area. But this lake, and then you can see that close to the leg, to the black wire, which is the leg, you can see that just on the right there should be a pass. So perhaps if the pilots they want to go much more straight, they will follow the straight line and they will go through this pass to come back. I know that there is a bit of airspace, so perhaps the airspace will push the pilots a bit on the right also of the screen, so to the northeast. And this will also have some influence on the race, but we will see. But again, sometimes the straight line is not the easiest and the fastest in gliding sport, so they will have to adapt a lot. The good news, you can see that on the right part of the screen, there, sorry, is altitude. Yesterday it was difficult to reach 1600, but it was a bit because of the airspace at first. And then it was okay, and they flew for the highest one to 1900 meters. Today you can see already that Hermann Leuker, Hotel Lima from Germany, is at 2400 meters, so much higher, 500 meters more than yesterday top we saw. So they are in a much more comfort zone with a lot of altitude, but I know that we will have to deal with airspace on the first leg, and perhaps they will have to fly a bit lower. So again, this altitude reserve and total energy they have is also influencing the way they can go. I go straight and then I go through a pass because I have enough altitude, or no, it will be a bit too tight, and if I miss some altitude to go through the pass, I will need to go back and lose a lot of time and lose the day. So I will make it more safe and go directly to the mountains, and then I will be on the good side and I can follow the mountains. We will see that on the second and especially on the third leg. And then we can focus on the finish, so closer to Pavullo. They will have, like yesterday, some plateau, some, I would say, some gentle slopes, which are sometimes helping, sometimes not helping. They will need to catch some altitude to make this finish. And they will make a finish completely cross direction compared to what they made yesterday, and then landing after a safe day. So we will see what are the decisions from the pilots on this task, and perhaps we can go for now to check where they are waiting for. Yeah, okay. Can we get a bit more zoom out? Yeah. So the start line is on the bottom right of the screen, this long red line. This is the start line, and all the pilots gather together on this area, and they are waiting and waiting and waiting. We are 13 minutes, so 3 minutes before the opening. And for now, I see no big issue. Before the start, it was, yeah, they made a first takeoff for the sniffer with one pilot, and he was not able to stay airborne, so he landed. They discussed again with contest director to change a bit the task, and then he was airborne again. And this time it seems to be really fine and easy to stay airborne because the thermal activity was okay. And so we were expecting perhaps some problem with some pilots to stay airborne, but at the end you can see the altitude again on the right of the screen, this table. All the pilots are between 1600 and 2300 meters. For today, the rules are, as every day, you have some start line maximum velocity, so ground speed, GPS speed. We will have to focus on a bit when we go through a start line, so to avoid penalties like yesterday. And the competition direction made also a maximum altitude on the start line of 1,700 meters above mean sea level, so not above the ground. And they will have also to avoid to get some penalties with these two, I would say, simple rules, but not so simple sometimes when you are in the cockpit of a glider. You saw that the question they asked for, especially Dirk Windmüller from Germany in the grid walk from Claire. She was asking Dirk, okay, it's your first final, and was it okay for the start line? Was it okay for the first thermal? Because we know that it's a lot of pilots together in a small area, and it's not so easy to focus on the safety, so to be safe all together, but also to focus on the speed and to focus on the altitude to avoid any penalties. And Dirk was yeah, he's not complaining, but he's telling out loud, yeah, it's not so easy to make it nice and okay. And we are, oh yeah, Stefano, you can grab your microphone. Welcome to this day. Hi, Stefano. It's okay, it's on.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to make it.
Nice to see you again.
You have to make it here, very close, yeah. We changed the microphone from yesterday because we had a lot of feedbacks, and we knew also that there was a bit of technical issues yesterday. So I hope you will enjoy a much better sound today. And but yeah, Stefano, you made the sniffer again today.
Yes, this morning I made a flight early in the morning.
Too early?
Too early, probably. The sun radiation was not strong enough to keep, in my opinion, all gliders safely up in the air before the starts. Probably was, not probably, it was temperature lack at that time. So we decided to land. I was in flight with a two-seater plane, and we had a look on the track supposed to fly in this race.
Yeah, because on the morning I saw that there was the task A was supposed to be like a 40 kilometers more length, so around 210 kilometers. But finally we make a task B with 160 kilometers. So what is the decision triggering for this kind of change?
So the point is that we have moisture coming from the Mediterranean Sea, and it will bring over the contest area, especially in the middle and in the west area, some storm, exactly rain and some thunderstorm, which makes the sky covered. So this cumulus, yes, it will be cloudy, and the cumulus will spread out during the day. So we think that the only possible way to have the race valid is to fly to the southeast. That means direction Toscana over the Mugello area. Mugello is a valley in the north of the big town of Florence, but still in the mountain.
It will be demanding, because when I just introduced the task before you came, and the first turn point is still on the ridge, but then we have the second turn point, which is going to this big basin here. And I think the third leg will be really interesting, because we have to make a decision if we go through this basin and go through a pass, or if we follow back the highest peaks.
So the Mugello Valley to the east side of the contest area is normally a weaker area.
Mm-hmm.
Today the air mass is more stable,
okay.
So we don't expect rain in that area. But probably from, we can see on the map there is a highway from Bologna to Florence in the middle of the Apennine. Then there is a climate change. So we have a different air mass between Pavullo and that highway where the Mugello Valley begins. So they can fly then to the east, southeast, and probably glide back from the good area home.
Okay.
So this is what we expect, because over Pavullo and around Pavullo it will be overcast.
Okay, so, but it will be no problem for them to come back from this southeast area, even if it's a bit cloudy and moist in the area of Pavullo. They will come back from high and they can glide.
It is what we expect.
Okay, so we will see. Yeah. For now, you can see on the control screen that they are flying at 2,200. We saw some of them at 2,400, which is quite high. But perhaps now it's starting to come with the moisture and lower and lower.
Exactly. according to the weather forecast, the cloud base will sink. And we made an early start anyway today for the race too. And so that letting people fly away as much as possible.
Okay. So we are 6 minutes now to the start. And all the pilots, I know that you try your best and always to make the life of the pilots as simple as possible before the start. And I can see that they are already in a nice area to wait, and they will have to reach this 1,700 meters altitude to make the start. So everything for now seems to be according to the plan, and we don't see any pilots in a pain or hurry to get some more altitude. The lowest is Didier Ho said is already 1,900 meters. And so they are all the pilots are in 200 meters altitude difference maximum, this bandwidth in the air. And they are just waiting and waiting. Please, Brian, contest director, please open the gate so we can go.
So we have chosen a place close to the highest peak.
For the start?
That means for the start, so
Okay.
they should have comfortable area to gain altitude before the rain comes.
Okay.
And we will for sure have, not directly maybe on the airfield, but all around it will be raining later in the afternoon.
So this area we can see now, the start line, will be perhaps the first one we will get some rain when it's coming from the southwest
Yes,
towards
probably.
Pavullo. But we expect that southeast will be still clear and much easier.
Yes,
with
but
energy.
anyway, not heavy rain.
No heavy rain, so a spot of rain they will be able to manage.
Exactly, exactly.
So it's not a front coming from the southwest. We just saw some cells, we call them cells, with some rain below, and it's gently coming. Do we still have a bit of föhn effect today? Or
No,
no?
the wind is too weak. We are anyway in a low pressure system, and that brings from the warm Tyrrhenian Sea moisture.
Okay, so this is still the problem for today. But
Yes.
again, we are 4 minutes before the start, and for now we see no issue for the pilots. They are flying between 2,200 and 1,900, and they are just waiting for the next 4 minutes to make a pretty
So
nice
what I see
start.
that everybody is close to each other.
Yes, just one gaggle for now. Yeah, there was Claire made some questions to the pilots today about if the gliders were a bit different, and if some of the pilots were just, I should have get this glider and not my glider. But everybody seems to be happy because we have this kind of rules, 48 kilogram per square meter, and it seems to be fair with any type of gliders.
So performance of the gliders is very, very close to each other. So there is more important is the attitude and the performance of the pilot himself.
So the decision making is the key, and we know also that the pilots are really sometimes they are attached to a brand because they fit. It's more of a taste of the and we know that the gliders types are a bit different in the taste you get in the cockpit, in the way they behave for maneuverability, the comfort. So all these things are at the end much more important because the performance is really at the same level, and they again. This is the decision making. We say that the problem is in between the two ears at the end for the pilots. They need to make the best decision in the instant, in a really evolving and challenging environment. It's a bit chaotic. It's not completely chaotic. We can predict things. We can see things. We can feel how it works, and we can feel how it evolves. But still, you are in this raw and flow of decision making, and each second is really important. We saw yesterday Stefan Langer, he won, so obviously he made the best decision, and it seems that the key was already on the first leg because he made a better glide from the others. He was with an advantage of 200 meters altitude at the first turn point, and he kept this altitude advantage till the end, even if during the interview at the end he said clearly, okay, at the end I was just managing my advantage, and I saw the people coming back and reaching me back a bit, but I was okay, no stress, I'm higher, I can make a nice finish, no stress again. And congratulations, Stefan, you won for this first race of this final in Pavullo.
Yes, but today the task is a bit longer, and the terrain that they will overfly has different features, so the pilot needs to adapt to the different terrain, his aggressiveness. So we will see something very different from yesterday.
Yeah, the task is longer, so if you make a small mistake, perhaps you can recover. You have more chance to recover. With this start at 1,700, so it's not the maximum ceiling we can do. We can fly higher, but we force them to be below 1,700 meters. I know that it makes also the first glide and the first thermal already some decisions to make it the best you can, and this makes a bit of challenge already just after the start line. And depending also on the sun, if it's okay or not, we will see. But we are now 40 seconds before the start. They are still all together. You can see altitude again on the right part of the screen with this table, and they need to cross the start line maximum 1,700 meters. The pilots in the cockpit, they have a special handle, air brakes, so they can manage also to lose more altitude.
Everybody
seconds.
is higher than the altitude allowed.
So I'm not sure if sometimes the competition director can change this altitude. So I don't know. We will see with him in a few minutes when he joins us to check what was the real max altitude. 4 seconds, 3 seconds, and it's open. No rush. You can see already that nobody wants to rush. Nobody was just behind the line at the right time. It's just, okay, we make a nice start and we want to make no penalty. Again, 1,700 meters maximum, 170 km/h maximum. ground speed. So not the speed they have in the cockpits. They have to take care of it. But smooth start, wide start. Very wide start. No altogether. This is 5 kilometers length for the start line. So between the glider on the left of the screen and the glider on the right of the screen, it's like 3 kilometers difference.
Yes, because if we look out of the window here, we see that on track there are a lot of clouds. It's almost overcast over there.
Already cloudy.
Yes, and so they can pick different ways to go.
So this will be interesting in the next minutes if we see really two groups or not. But they go first. First, there is no, in the next kilometers, there is no high peaks. It's just some plateau and gentle slopes, but no high peaks.
No, they have to glide. Probably they will cross over the first valley and the second one before they climb again. To the north, we have more sun compared to the main ridge. So I see that pilots are flying a little bit to the north.
Yep.
So probably they are looking for the edge between sun and shade.
Okay, so the north is on the right.
Except one, the Didier Hauss from the French team is flying parallel, but I would say 2-3 kilometers away to the south.
So the gliders, all the pilots are going to the southeast now for the first turn points. The north is on your left part of the screen, and according to information from Stefano, perhaps we have a bit more sun on this north part, so on the right part of the screen, left part of the screen, sorry. And that's why perhaps the pilots the main pack of the pilots are following this line. But still, Didier Hauss on the right part of the screen, so a bit more south, is making his own, and for now we don't see any difference in altitude. So everybody is just looking for the next spot to gain altitude and to think about the next step, where to jump to these highest peaks close to the first turn
now
points.
they are overflying the Panaro Valley. Panaro is the river you see just at the bottom of the screen. And then the ridge in front is Belvedere, is the highest peak to the right in the screen.
So Belvedere is exactly what we it seems to be, a Belvedere. So some
Belvedere.
highest point, so you can have a nice view.
Yes, because you have then, it is on the right-hand side of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You have a nice view to the main ridge and also to the southeast. So direction, we have a town there, Porretta. And then in this valley to the south, there are two very nice lakes to visit, Lake Brasimone and Lake Suviana. They will probably don't overfly them and stay a little bit to the north.
Okay, so for now, no big difference. Didier's is a bit below the group, which was, oh no, it's quite the same at the end.
Yes, almost everybody has the same altitude.
Yeah. And they did not lose a lot of altitude from the start.
No, because there are, as I said, there are a lot of clouds, so it's easy to pick away. So if something doesn't work, there is another option immediately available for the pilot.
For the non-pilots, the non-gliding pilots, I just want to explain a bit. Clouds. Okay, we are talking a lot about the clouds. I'm sorry, but the lowest clouds we are using are the cumulus. It's normally when you have a weather forecast on your TV, the best TV you want. They always talk about today is a nice day with some cumulus, and this makes happy pilots for glider, because cumulus means also thermal activity on the ground, and this thermal activity is producing the cumulus, and you have to find a good balance between too much cumulus, so overcast, so no more sun we can spot on the ground to make some heating, and just enough cumulus to have some nice spots. And all the thermals, all the columns of warm air are producing the cumulus. This is not the cumulus which is producing the column below, but it's really the column of warm air coming up and then producing at the top this cumulus. So the pilots are using visually this information to follow the lines of energy, so following cumulus, next cumulus, next cumulus, next cumulus, and to make the best they can out of these lines of energies.
So we see that they are still exploiting lifting air masses.
No circling.
Because they are keeping steady their altitude,
no circling,
even some gaining.
Yep.
So I think there is a lot of energy.
Yeah. And they're flying at around 170 kilometers per hour ground speed.
Yes.
So I think 150, 160 in the cockpit. They have a bit of advantage because they fly a bit higher. And there is almost no wind, like 5 knots from the southwest, from the west. It's really weak today. And but yes, it's also to show that just with a glider, you don't need a lot of energy to keep the same altitude or to gain a bit of altitude. And usually this high performance glider, they will lose 0.81 meter per second. So every second they lose a bit of altitude. And they transform this altitude in distance. And today, it's a really nice view of what they can do, not losing at all altitude. They make distance and distance and distance, just following the lines of energy. So perhaps you can go to the top view a bit, just to make a point where they are on the task. Okay, so they make 1/4, 25% of the first leg, and the first leg is 81 kilometers, so we made 20 kilometers without any circling and not losing a lot of altitude, perhaps 100 meters maximum, which is quite impressive. So
on the screen we see just north of the screen, so on the top we see the town of Bologna, and at the bottom Florence. And you see that there is a highway from Bologna to Florence, and exactly where this line crosses the leg of the racers, that's a key point because they will fly then in another, in that valley I mentioned called Mugello Valley, where we normally have a different air masses. And from there on, I think they will get more energy again, but more than what they have now.
Okay, so in a few minutes we will see if we need, we start to have 1,300 meters. So I think you become to have in the cockpit this kind of scratching heads. Okay, where do I get more energy now? Where do I find the nicest spot to gain energy easily and fast? And so we can see already that it's spreading a bit. So Lukas Nidarzik, LZ, on the right part of the screen is leading with 1,290 meters. And the rest of the pack is mainly on the left of the screen with Sebastian Kawa, 1,367 meters, followed by Hermann Leuker. And Charlie Tango is Klaus Kalmbar, who made 4th yesterday. So this is the main pack. And again, everybody is scratching the head. Okay, where do I find the next spot? The highway, I think we can start to see it on the screen now, the highway.
We can't really see no, not yet.
And we can see already perhaps the valley, which is on the right part of the screen, top right.
Top right, yes.
So this will be perhaps the key where we have to go to reach the valley and then to keep it high on this valley and come back. So nice start, smooth.
Anyway, if they reach 1,100 meters, then they have to stop and climb.
So it's pretty soon.
Otherwise, they cannot cross any valley more.
Okay. So 1,200 meters and 60 for Lukas Nidarzik, LZ Design. On the top right of the screen, leading the pack for now. And the other pack on the left part of the screen is now also joining the same ID. Let's follow these guys and go back with them. But nobody is making any difference for now. Altitude is quite the same. And nobody wants to stop and climb. But they will need to climb really soon now. So now we are entering this valley just before, I think, the highway. So first on point is on the top of the screen, really close to our box, just here on my left, which is on your right for the followers on the YouTube channel. Second turn point will be a bit further to the south. Sebastian Kawa is reaching your altitude limit, 1,100 meters. And this is a wide valley now.
Because this is the valley before the highway.
Okay.
So it's the valley with the Futa Pass.
Futa Pass.
Futa Pass, but it's farther in front of them.
And I can see the highway now.
Yeah, this is
bottom,
Poretta
yeah.
town,
Yeah.
what we see in front of them, to the southeast. This is a large valley. There are, yes, they have to climb. Yes,
they have to stop.
They have to stop before crossing that area to the southeast, before reaching Mugello Valley. And they are on the ridge, more or less on the ridge on the top.
And now climbing.
But you see, there is not a lot of altitude between the gaggle and the ridge underneath.
So important is to check on the right part of the screen, check the altitude. You can see if they gain altitude or not. Seems to be pretty difficult, but we can see some numbers with 0.7, 0.9. Ooh. Perhaps it's not so sunshine there. It's difficult for them to gain altitude.
The second group, the 3 Victor, 1, 2, they are climbing probably a little bit more.
But definitely the pilots wanted to stop and gain altitude, except we can see Giorgio Galetto, who left one of the pack. Oh, already Mike Sierra, so Marek Savcuk from Poland is quite low. And Sierra, so Sebastian Kawa, the number 1 best pilot IGC ranking, is already also quite low. And I think Lukas Nidarzik, he just did not join at all any of the two circles, and he's now just going through, 1,073 meters. Luca is flying a FES glider. He has a small engine on the nose of a glider, and you have also a glider with a FES system.
I have the same system, but Luca knows this territory very well. He flew at least 2 contests, so he flew the Worlds in Pavullo and the pre-Worlds here. So he knows this contest area, and he knows also if it's risky flying or not. At this stage is a little bit
low.
Low, yes, because the valley in front is not landable, and but the only problem we can see exactly what he has in front of him.
Oh, now he's climbing.
So, because we don't see the cloud cover.
Yeah. So now he's climbing. I saw also a bit Sebastian Kawa behind him, perhaps climbing. So all these guys who left the group circling, perhaps the group circling made it a bit too conservative. We'll see in a few minutes. But these guys, they spot something and they took a risk.
If we can move the camera at the same altitude of Lima Zulu, we can probably see better how low he is.
We are with Lukas Nidarzik,
yes.
So still he has perhaps enough to make the pass through the valley?
But he's at
He's
this
climbing.
stage, he's climbing, but at this height is still in the cup, so
he's climbing.
He couldn't fly with this altitude directly out, so he has to climb.
So Lukas Nidarzik leading for now with 1,140 meters altitude and climbing gently. I think he's joined by Giorgio Galetto just below from Italy. Luca is from Slovenia. He's the builder, designer of one of the FES systems, of a front electric sustainer, which is a small engine in the nose of a glider to replace a typical turbo engine. He's followed by Giorgio Galetto, who is also using a glider with a FES, so which is interesting. We will have to ask them perhaps if they are more comfortable because they are using this system compared to the other gliders with engines or no engine at all. We have a group with Sebastian Kawa, John Gatfield circling on the right part of the screen. Everybody is gently gaining altitude. Maximilian Seys at the bottom of the screen is joining also this group with Sebastian Kawa on the right part. Alberto Cironi, Mike Alfa at the bottom of the screen also is joining. Hermann Leuker joining now. So all the group which was circling behind is joining this group with Sebastian Kawa. And we have a group leading, for now leading. I don't know if it's a clear lead because the difference of altitude can be not so high. But let's call it for now the leading group with Lukas Nidarzik and Giorgio Galetto. I think Stefan Langer is joining also Giorgio and Luca.
Sometimes we lose the link to the gliders. So Lima Zulu, when we see light gray flags, it means we have no data. No data from. Yeah.
If we have no data at all, we will freeze. But he's back again live. But he did not gain a lot of altitude.
He didn't climb really.
No.
So he's maintaining altitude, even losing a bit.
So as expected, and as expected by Stefano, it was okay. This trigger altitude, 1,100 meters, was really. We need to find something, and it's clearly what the group chasing group was making, and there is for now a leading group which is pushing a bit more, so a bit more risky attitude, I would say, for sport risk and not for safety. It's okay, but sport risk, because if you are too low, you can't cross the pass. You can't go to the main peaks, and you have to make much more detour, which is a fail for a day like this. But we will see in a few minutes if Lukas Nidarzik is finding the next spot to gain altitude. These guys on the chasing group with 1,300 meters, it's not a lot of difference compared to Luca. It's just 200 meters, but this makes a big difference at the end in the cockpit for the choice you can make.
Yes, it will be climbing in the next valley will be the key point of the race. That will make the difference.
So you think the idea is not going to the right part of the screen, to this dead, we could say the dead valley. No, you have to keep it on the peaks.
Yes, you have to keep on the peaks. So they could fly to the ridge, but in this case, I wouldn't. They are too low. As I mentioned before, we have an area with 2 lakes, very close to the main ridge, but for sure is today overcast, so less energy. And they still need to fly to the southeast, according to the race.
Okay.
And
the next
otherwise
valley.
they will hit, they may hit the restricted area. But at this stage, there is no other option. They must climb.
So we are with Lucas Nergic, is low, but I wanted to talk about, this is the pass and the next valley on the top left of the screen, so really close under me.
So we have a valley from this side, and then you just jump over.
Jump over these peaks in the middle of the screen and follow them. Okay,
yes.
Okay. So this is one of the first key points, and for now, Luca is a bit too low to make this kind of ID.
Yeah. And the slope to the south, you see on the screen, is going gently
lower and lower?
Lower and lower.
So first key point, we are with Lukas Inarzik, 900 meters.
Now you see what he's doing. He
wants to go to the pass.
To the pass,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah. So he's expecting perhaps a bit more energy on the south part of the slopes, on the south side?
Yes.
Okay. But he's low, and Giorgio Galetto just behind has quite the same altitude, so they are both low. So difficult key point for them for now. And the chasing pack is making a bit different ID when we see the action on the back here. They want to jump as soon as possible on this ridge, which is just in front of them, to avoid to go too low.
Yes.
And then they can jump to the next valley. Not easy at all.
Not easy. And to the north, you see they could jump into another valley.
Yes.
North of Mugello Valley, but then if they don't have enough altitude, they cannot cross and fly into the Mugello Valley to the southeast.
Yep.
You see the valley there.
So there is the next valley, just a few kilometers.
So they have to go around because they are not very high.
Again, the key is to be able to be on top of the ridge, which are just on the right part of the screen, just before this big deep valley on the right of the screen. And so then they have to follow
it is
this
exactly that ridge, the slope to the south, which is on the right side of the screen. They have to go over that wooden area.
Can we go to 1 Lima, just behind 1 Lima, and quite the same altitude? Just to show you, we get a nice view of what is the difficulty for them. It's quite flat, it's just gentle slopes, and it's difficult. Yeah.
Yes. So they have to be higher than the plateau.
So all these guys at 1,200 meters, 1,250 meters, they are in a much comfortable zone.
But anyways, it's not really comfortable to fly at that altitude.
So difficult day. 3 Victor Tilo is getting some altitude, I think. They try to gain something now. Everybody is hoping for a nice thermal. Everybody is joining now the thermal. And we will have to check if they can get some altitude in the next minutes. So if I see 3 Victor is 1,136 meters, and I don't see really gain of altitude for Tilo, which is not a good news for the other pilots, because everybody is joining the same. Thermal is difficult day, difficult start for now. And now he's gaining altitude. Yep. Sebastian Kawa is in the same spot. Hey, Mike Youngkey. Mike Young. Again, I think he was perhaps a bit more conservative on the back and higher. So now he can reach this ridge we are talking about from the beginning now. Golf Tango is following. Thomas Gosner from Italy.
And look at the Dutch, is getting lower and lower.
Yeah, very low. Stefan Langer is following also Mike Young and Thomas Gostner and reaching, but lower. I would not say much lower, but lower, and lower means few meters difference, and it's enough to make it difficult for the day. So we'll see also in the next minutes how it works for him. Alberto Cironi is leading the chasing pack now, behind, with Lukas Grabowski
Yes,
and Eric Bormann.
yeah.
But they are just flying 1,300 meters. It's
It's
definitely
okay.
low. It's okay, but it's low. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Not a lot of choices for the pilots for now. Sebastian Kawa is also leaving the pack now, following the ridges. Nice area, but difficult day for now. Very difficult. And Sebastian is thermaling with Mike Sierra. So Marek Zawczuk from Poland also. November Bravo is Maximilian Seys from France, also joining this thermal with Sebastian Kawa. And the leaders with Mike Young from UK, followed by Golf Tango, Thomas Gostner from Italy, Stefan Langer, a bit lower, a bit behind, expecting also some perhaps easier life on the main ridge, going towards the first turn point. This big valley is completely landable, it's no problem.
It's no problem. We have Mugello is well known for motorcar race and motorbike race. There is a track, and is and very close to this race circuit, there is an airstrip as well, and there is another airstrip at the end of the valley to the southeast. So it's quite landable, no stress whenever you reach it.
So for now, the only issue is altitude for the pilots.
Sorry?
The only issue is altitude. They want to gain altitude to gain more energy.
Exactly.
And we will see in a few minutes for Mike Young how it works on the ridge. We have for now poor data, I would say. But
so the best part of the ridge is not at the very beginning.
Okay.
It's the second half, and by the end where the valley then turns to the southwest.
So why is it better when it turns to the southwest?
Yeah, probably. I don't know exactly, but this is in average the best place. Probably also because there is more sun, and we are a little bit away from the lake. You see in the valley to the west there is an artificial lake, and this makes during the nights the air mass very moist, and finally weaker condition in the valley generally. So the end of the valley to the east is in average better for climbing.
Okay, so Mike Young from UK leading now. We think we have poor data, but we think he is still at 1,250 meters around altitude. He's followed by Golf Tango, so Thomas Gostner from Italy, quite the same altitude, and they are reaching now the, I would say, better and better part of this main ridge, going towards the first turn point. And they are entering the last third, so the last 25 to 30 kilometers of this first leg to the first turn point in quite difficult conditions. And there is a pack behind with Sebastian Kawa, with Maximilian Seys. We were a bit more perhaps conservative and to get back more energy before going to this main ridge. We saw also some really difficulties for Lukas Nidarzik, who is now much higher. He has 1,090 meters altitude, but I think he used his engine to come back home. We will see that in a few minutes, but I think he's cancelling the day and going back. We will have news from Yankee, so from Giorgio Galetto soon also, because he was low with Luca a few minutes ago. But still, the race is on, and perhaps I hope that we will see a kick, a nice kick, a nice jump in the altitude. But yeah, the pilot seems to be they seems to enjoy now. They pass the key points, and so we are with Sebastian Kawa, we are with Maximilian Seys, and we are with Didier Haus together, 1,100 meters, which is not high, but it seems to be easier life now.
Yes, from now on, they can also descend to 800, 700 meters, and they will have anyway enough air volume so that they have the possibility to climb, because the bottom of the valley is lower than the territory they have overflown right now.
Okay, so the bandwidth of altitude they can use now, it's much wider to the bottom.
Much higher,
okay,
yes.
Okay.
Much bigger or thicker.
So this makes, again, the mindset in the cockpit perhaps different. Okay, now
yes.
I have more play, I can make some mistakes, it's okay.
They can have more options to fly.
So we are in Pavullo, this Grand Prix, final Series 11. If you join us now, we are just on the first leg. The pilots, they started, I think it was 2:20 local time. This afternoon, they make the start line. And we are now, it's 30 minutes after the start line, and we are still on the first leg. So I would say a difficult day. We have to see something on the screen.
Yes, so we can see the in the middle, a little bit to the right, we can see the Mugello race circuit.
Okay, we will focus a bit more on the valley, so we can see perhaps a bit more of this valley and the place for the racing circuit. So again, this first leg was we knew it was difficult, with some difficulties to come, because some moisture is coming from the southwest, and even if they had some altitude for a start, and they were able to make a nice glide for the first 20 kilometers, but then it was nothing to gain altitude. It was just to make it a nice glide. And this first problem was this big valley with a highway going from Bologna to Florence. And this valley was, as expected, a bit difficult to reach at a nice and comfort altitude for the pilots. Already 2 pilots, we think, had to cancel the day, and we are with the racing circuit in this valley. And so we think that Giorgio Galetto and Lukas Nidarzik had to use the engine to retrieve the glider home. But for the others, the PAX is still in the air and not so high, but it seems to be much more comfortable now. And so the key point is made, and they can go through these peaks along to the first turn point.
And in this valley, according to the weather forecast, they should have a quite higher cloud base. So in the forecast, we had about between 1,600 and 2,000 meters should be there. Probably very close at the end of this valley, they will reach that altitude.
And I think they will be happy if we can reach much more altitude, because the second turn point, which is at the right part of the screen, you are quitting a bit these high peaks, and you are going lower and lower and lower, and you have to think about how I come back next to the higher peak.
Yeah, probably they have to go around and coming back from the same way they came.
So if we focus on the names, so Stefan Langer is in this pack, or just behind this pack, leading pack. So no big problem for now. He's the leader in the overall score with 10 points. Yesterday he won the first race. And he's followed by Mike Young, and Mike Young seems to be also in a really good position for now, leading the race. Not high, but keep going. Typical, I would say, Mike Young style also. He's really positive mindset pilot. and yeah, he's never stressed. He's really relaxed, and he has always a plan, which is the key to be relaxed at the end. He has a plan, and he knows what to do. And on this leading pack, we have also Eric Baumann. So one of the guys we are watching today, because we thought he would have made better yesterday, but he made a bit of a fail at the end of a race yesterday, I think, and he dropped a few places and he had no points at all. We have also Alberto Cironi in this leading pack, so on Mike Alpha, and Papa is, I'm checking for who is flying. Lukas Grabowski from Poland is also there. So this is the leading pack, and they are closer and closer to the first turn point. And as Stefano was telling you a few minutes ago, you can see that the ground is much lower on the right part of the screen. This makes also the mindset in the cockpit for the pilots. Okay, I'm okay. I have some more choices because I have more altitude to the ground, and I can keep going. But still, I have to think about what's coming next after the first turn point, and we hope that we will be able to give more altitude. Chasing this group is Sierra, so Sebastian Kawa in the middle of the screen, with the Fun, which is Dick Windmüller from Germany, and I think 3 Victor, Thilo Holigaus is there. Interesting is to see that behind this pack is November Bravo, so Maximilian Seyss, who took the decision to go a bit further downhill, I would say, so more in the valley to gain altitude. But I'm not sure this will pay at the end, because we can see that the leading pack is just going along and not losing a lot of altitude. So again, perhaps a more conservative view of a race from the cockpit. It's difficult. For a lot of these pilots, it's the first time ever they reach this valley, so they don't know how it works. And Mike Young, now we have this spot with altitude leading with 1,360 meters. So same altitude as November Bravo, which is making a more conservative attitude, Maximilian Seyss. So yeah, quite a distance now. I think there is almost 10 kilometers distance between these two packs, and same altitude. So for now, we have a leading group, clearly, with Mike Young leading, Alberto Cironi in Mike Young's group, and everybody behind. Okay, more happy because they have more solutions with altitude. Oh yeah, we are. If you hear some noise, it's normal. We are on airfield of Pavullo. It's airfield also for the fighters, and they have a really nice helicopter. It's a quiet type of helicopter, but still it's a bit of noise, and we are sorry if it's making some noise, but we thank the firefighters to have this nice Pavullo airfield, because we can use also this airfield with nice accommodation and service on the airfield. Okay, so what's next after? Difficult.
It seems to be difficult. Normally they should climb on Jogo Pass, and it is exactly where the leading gliders are underneath.
The Jogo is just before 10.1?
Is exactly where we see the first
Mike Young?
leading,
Okay.
Mike Young. Normally the first good climbing is there.
And the higher, yeah. On the right part of the screen, you can see that now there are 1,480 meters for Mike Young. The information from Maximilian Seyss is not good.
But it seems that anyway the condition is weak.
Still weak, yeah.
Yes, still weak, yes. Probably a really moist air and warm air at the same time. And unfortunately, we don't know if the sky is overcast or not. So we don't know the radiation, the sun radiation, if it's working.
I don't know if you can check to have some webcams in this area. I'm just gently asking Sebastian if he can check if you have a webcam to see the sky in this area, so we have more information and understanding about why they are flying so low. You flew
this slope could be
okay,
interesting.
So just before the 10.1, you can see on this column, this cylinder, red on the right part of the screen is the turn point 1. And just before this turn point 1, we have a nice slope which is perpendicular to the main slope we are using now. And this is where the pass is and where the pilots they want to. This is the target for energy, perhaps.
And probably you see here the air is sucked, and so here you get more energy.
Yeah, perhaps you can just, if you can, Sebastian, just make it a bit from the other way. No, the other way. Yeah, and a bit back, please. Zoom out a bit. Yep, thank you. And remove the table on the right. Yes. So yeah, Stefano was explaining that from the turn point 1, so the right cylinder on the right part of the screen, you can see that there is a valley.
This is a valley.
Yeah, I would show them with a bit of.
So the slope here should be nice.
Just make the valley here highlighted. So we have a magic pen, and we will do something. Yes.
But more also.
Yeah. So this is really important in mountain area. You need slopes, you need sun, which is heating up, but you also need this kind of open valley before the slope to have a volume of air coming through and clear to accelerate and go through the slopes. So that's why they are also this kind of energy points. They are not made by nothing. They are made by this addition of things and just an open valley below a slope makes it easier for sucking the air and make the lift much more easier for the pilots.
And we have to remind that the turning point is a bit high. If I well remember, is roughly 700 meters.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, okay.
Which is not a problem with 1,200, 1,300 meters.
If they can keep the altitude, yes.
Okay, so we have a webcam, and this is, you have a position of this webcam around? Right side of, okay, on the southeast side of a turn point. So it's definitely moist, and I think they are on the top of the screen. You can see now is exactly what they are above them, and perhaps the point is also that it's not really clear where you can find the thermals below this kind of clouds, because they are not really, I would say, clear. When you are pilots, you are looking for special areas under a cumulus to find the thermals. I don't know how you do, but for me it's unclear, especially if I'm low. It's really unclear where I would find the best of the thermals.
But I think this image is more looking to the north, and the air mass to the north in the region of Casentino is drier. I think we should look after another webcam pointing direction Florence, because I think there is another air mass. It's very nice, that kind of cumulus, but I think it's not what they are experiencing.
So Sebastian is looking for a better spot with perhaps something. Oh yeah, it's coming. Yeah. Yes, this is perhaps much more. Yeah.
This is much more what they see.
It's not a clear sky, not clear in a way. It's blue, but it's an unclear sky for the pilots in the cockpit.
And then you see that the cloud base is not well defined.
Perhaps some drizzle with some spot of rains around because it's a bit colder. So yeah, not a really friendly sky for glider pilots, especially for a competition. But difficult.
Exactly. It's a bit difficult, yes.
So let's go back to the race and check with first turn point. We have a bit of poor data, but we can see that there is a leading pack. And I see German Stefan Langer, Mike Young here, Mike Alpha, Alberto Cironi, and there is Papa, so Lukas Grabowski from Poland, and Juliet Golf, Eric Baumann from Netherlands. These are all the leading packs, and they are reaching now in the next seconds the first turn point at around 1,300 meters, which is okay. But still, they have to go then to the south and further in the valley, so we will see what's going on. And following this pack is Sebastian Kawa with Sierra. You can see in the middle of the screen, 1,200 meters and gaining a bit of altitude. So we have a chasing pack with Sebastian. We have a chasing pack with the French Maximilien Seyss, John Gatfield is around. Hermann Leuker from Germany is there also.
So the first turning point, between the first turning point and the second one, it's not landable.
Okay, but still we can go to the valley if
but then, yes, exactly the turning point underneath is landable. There is an airstrip.
Okay.
Otherwise, they have to fly back into the valley, and they reach good landable fields.
So based on the altitude they have now, it will be impossible for them to, okay, I go to turn point 2 and I can go straight line to the turn point 3. We have to come back the same way they came.
Yes, they have to come back and to again gain altitude. That's a must. And it will be more difficult because they have to overfly again the region where we saw the highway. And we will see, it's very, very challenging today, this race.
So it's a bit trivial when we are talking about, we are always talking about altitude, and we say, it would be easier with more altitude. And for every day, altitude is, I would say, the most important thing for glider pilots. And in competition, it's also really important because each meter you have more compared to your competitor is, you can go further, you can go faster, and perhaps you can win. But still, the problem today is the bandwidth of altitude. They are low. They don't have a lot of extra altitude to spare. And you can see already that between the turn point 1 and turn point 2, these guys are making some really, really interesting path. Some of the guys, I think they just made the turn point 1, and they go back. They go back.
Yes, because they have to optimize their glide angle. And so they remain over these small ridges, and so that they can fly around this or on the west side of the valley.
To keep it safe.
Yeah, to be safe, but also to get this very weak energy coming from the slopes.
So you have to think about clear
Yes.
again, clear.
So they will try to reach this ridge, small ridge, and maybe they will get some altitude at the other side, so the sun side of that ridge.
Really difficult there. Really, really difficult
Yes.
there. On the right part of the screen, you can see some pilots circling. And perhaps it's also why some of the pilots who made the first turn point now, they want to go back and perhaps reach this circling group. So to gain a bit more altitude before crossing to the south and following the ridges to turn point 2. But I saw nobody going straight from turn point 1 to turn point 2. They have not enough energy to do that in a comfort zone. So everybody wants to get more clear altitude above the ground, and this means going back towards these small slopes, going to the big valley on the southwest of this leg. Can we get a more general view, please, Sebastian? So we can make the point on the race now. Interesting was Mike Alpha, so Alberto Cironi is on the left part of the screen. He was perhaps higher, 1,300 meters compared to the others, and he chose to make it straight.
Yes, because normally the ridge he's overflying is a good hotspot for gaining altitude and flying farther to the southeast in a normal standard day or gliding day. But today the cloud base is so low that I also ask myself if it's really a good option to fly straight.
So clearly a choice, I would say direct choice, Mike Alpha, Alberto Cironi, because he was perhaps at a good altitude at a good moment and he can make it straight to turn point 2. But everybody else is making a bit more, not safe in a safety ID, but safe for sporting ID.
So anyway, it's shorter distance is flying, so he hopes that he will get something, just a small ridge before the turning point, or exactly flying back where the two valleys comes into one, are joining, yes.
Okay.
But it's anyway a risky option what he did.
So behind now, closing to a turn point 1, we have Sierra Delta, which is Didier House, with a much, I would say, much higher altitude. It's not really high altitude, but it's much higher, 1,360 meters. And Maximilian Sey, so the two French pilots together, also Hermann Leuker. And we saw Hermann Leuker was with a leading group a few minutes ago, and now he's on the back, but it took some minutes to gather more altitude to be perhaps also more easy for the leg 2, because the leg 2 is one of the key points also.
So can we have a look from the same altitude of the gliders?
Yeah, we can go to the turn point 1 with the pilots.
So we have a better idea of what they are doing.
And perhaps we can focus a bit more, just
Yes.
to have more view, live view, yeah. So turn point 2,
So
Didier
still
House.
Mike Alpha has good altitude.
Yes, Mike Alpha seems to keep his altitude at 1,300 meters, and he's closing and closing to a turn point 2, and we are on the turn point 1 with the French Maximilian Seyss and Didier House. The 12 is Peter Krejcik from Czech Republic, also making this turn point 1 quite high, 1,400 meters around. And we are closer and closer to the turn point 2. If we can go to the leading pack now with Thilo Legaos. I have no news about Mike Yankee. So Mike Young, I don't know where he is for now. Mike, which was leading the pack. Okay, Mike. So Mike made a detour a bit more in the valley and to gain altitude, I think. But Sri Victor Thilo Legaos is now reaching the first turn point, not so high, 1,000 meters, but he made the detour. And Mike Alpha Alberto Cironi was making much more straight, and he's a bit higher, 1,130 meters. Sebastian Kawa is just behind, 1,100 meters. It's difficult for now to predict if it's an advantage, because you can see that 1,100 meters, and Mike Young is just a bit behind with 1,300 meters, so 200 meters difference energy, and the distance is a bit short. And you could see that to gain a bit of energy, it was a long time they had to invest, all the pilots. So for now, it's difficult to know if it's better to continue, even if you are a bit lower, or you have to stop and gain altitude. So Sierra Delta, the French.
Probably we can say that it's the best option for the pilots is to fly together, as we know that this valley has weak conditions. So flying in front of the gaggle is really risky today.
You're doing the job, making this. You're doing the job.
Yes, but we cannot expect that he will climb with a strong lift. So the chances that it can make a failure or a mistake instead of really gaining time and distance over the other competitors.
So we lost already 2 pilots today. When I say lost, it's okay, no worry. It's just they had to cancel the day. They used the engine to retrieve, to come back. So Lukas Nidarzik from Slovenia, and I think Giorgio Galetto from Italy, they had to use the engine. They are back in the area of Pavullo airfield, and perhaps they landed. I didn't check, but they are around. And so Lukas has landed, and in the front leading pack, we have Sebastian Kawa, who is now reaching the turn point 2 with 1,000 meters. Thilo Legaos is also there from Germany. Lukas Krabowski, also from Poland, like Sebastian, is there. So all these 3 pilots they made with Alberto Cironi also, now on the screen, Mike Alpha. But quite, I would say, low. They are chased by Mike Young, which is now coming from the bottom of the screen with a bit more altitude, 1,200 meters. Golf Tango, Mr. Thomas Gosner from Italy is also joining and chasing this pack again with 1,200 meters. So a bit of difference of altitude between the leading pack, lower, and the chasing group. Sri Victor is becoming lower and lower. Thilo Legaos on the right part of the screen is just short of 900 meters, which is, it's not concerning for the safety again, but it's just concerning because you have less and less altitude to make different choices. You can be completely stuck in this valley. You have the lowest pass will be like 1,000 meters, to get out of the valley?
Yes, but then it's not really very landable. You can, let's say, exit of the valley, but then where to go is really too low altitude, 1,000 meter. So they should reach at least 1,200, I would say. But even if at this stage 3 Victor is low, with 900 meters, still okay. He could find some lifts.
So definitely 2 styles for now. From time to time in the race, you can see that there are some choices, and these choices make some results. And you can see that there is a leading pack, but it's a bit lower, and perhaps in the next minutes it will be difficult for them if they don't find any lift. And then there are some pilots who are a bit more conservative from time to time, especially the French, Didier Haus and Maximilien Seyss. We were really conservative a few minutes ago, really behind the pack, and now they are on the second turn point, higher than the leading pack was, and perhaps with more choices, more possibilities to find the best to get out of this valley and reach back the main reach to come back in the area of Pavullo. So we are, if you join us now, you can follow us on social media. You can follow us, so Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to get more informations. We have an official website. Perhaps we can have the address of the official website, so you can follow us on sgpfinal23.sgp.aero. Every day we try to make a program with a race. It was not really cooperative weather for now in Pavullo, but from yesterday on we were able to make race. Yesterday race was a short one, won by Stefan Langer from Germany, followed by Mike Young from UK, and the third was Alberto Cironi from Italy, and Klaus Kamber from Germany for the top 4. Yesterday was difficult for Sebastian Kawa, the best first ranking pilot in the world. He was still able to make 2 points, but with a quite risky choice at the end of the task. And today he's again in good position, but he's in the leading pack quite low with 3 Victor, Thilo Legaus from Germany. And these guys, they try to react from the race from yesterday to gain points. And because, after 2 days, it's only 2 races, and then it's over for this final. So they need to make points today to still be in the leading pack on the overall score. Let's go back to the 3D if we can see the second and third leg, because we know that it's quite sensitive now. So we are on turn point 2 with the French. They made it now. We have a bit of a problem with November Bravo tracking system. I hope we can fix it in the next minutes. I see my technical team on my left. They are making like this with head, so it's not really positive. But anyway.
So somebody's climbing. No, not really.
Not really. So we'll have contest director Brian coming in the next minute.
Can you please check the time and see how much time they needed to reach these points? So it's more than an hour.
It's an hour now.
It's an hour now, okay.
We are on turn point 2, so we made 80 plus 12, so 90 to 100 kilometers.
Yes, kilometers per average.
It's still fast.
Yes, but for 18-meter class
not so fast.
Planes is not so fast.
Yeah, and they were able to make it along the ridge, not losing altitude, and the start also was not losing altitude at all.
Yes,
so it was easy part,
but
easy.
They started high, so they had an advantage, I mean, for the average speed.
Yeah.
So while flying back, it will take, I think, a little bit more time.
And they are in the valley now.
They are still in the valley.
They are back to the main ridge?
Yeah. No, they are going here.
Ooh.
Here.
Perhaps you can go to the leading pack with 3 Victor, because he's low. And I know that Thilo Legaus is okay to be... It's not a safety issue again, when we say low. It's just low for choice.
Exactly, so he has enough altitude to reach landable places. He can still fight, let's say, with the air mass. So he's racing.
All these pilots are really experienced pilots for what we are watching now. Following the slopes like this is no issue for them. So you have Sri Victor, Thilo Ligaus, and Sebastian Kawa, who is chasing Thilo. And you have Stefan Langer on the right part of the screen. I'm sorry, it's poor data, but they are all there. We have Eric Borgman. All these pilots are really, really, really safe flying this way. So it's no issue at all. But still, again, at what point they will want to gain altitude to cross to the other side of these peaks and be safe to make the last decision for the last glide. I don't see Mike Yankee. Yeah, Mike Yankee now. Mike Young is a bit behind, but higher. Perhaps with a bit the Mike it's not the same. The first time we saw yesterday, he was reaching back the leading back, making a nice altitude, the good altitude at the right moment, and it's quite usual for Mike to make these kind of things. I don't know how he makes this. It's a bit of magic, but at one point he knows that okay, now I need to stop, I need to climb, I need to gather energy, and then I can glide and glide and glide and reach back and perhaps overtake the leading back. So yeah, we have Brian coming, competition director. Yeah, I can let you together. Yeah. We have a third microphone. Yeah, okay.
Give Stefano a break for 2 minutes. He's doing such a fantastic job.
It's difficult, Brian, no?
Benj, these guys are doing an amazing job.
Yeah, definitely.
We expected it to be difficult, but not this difficult. And what you can't see is the sky outside.
And?
We have some areas where we have beautiful cumulus, and some areas where we have overcast, and somewhere it's completely blue.
And they fly where?
Well, I'm not sure exactly, but I think they're in the blue.
Okay.
I think there's nothing there.
Ah.
And the air mass is, maybe it's even a little bit maritime, I'm not sure. But it's not as good as it is here at the moment.
Okay.
But it's amazing when you think that most of these pilots have never flown here before. And for them, this is a real adventure. They're flying low level, they're in amongst the scenery, looking at the animals on the hilltops. Yeah, there are going to be some stories to tell tonight when they come back.
But when you say that they never flew here, they can make some parallel with what they've flown before.
I don't think so. I think everywhere you fly is different. And when you come into an area like this, there are so many regional differences, where the valleys are a different shape, the wind blows a different direction. And if you've never been there before, you're not sure what you're looking for. And Stefano is making the wonderful explanation about what you should be looking for and what you can and can't do, because he knows the area so well.
I wanted to ask Stefano, but he's going now. But did you flew in this kind of weather conditions? Yes. So yes, it's a yes.
Yeah. Well, Stefano, we know he's very experienced, and he's flown in most conditions in this region. But I'm really pleased to see that at the beginning, everybody was just flying together.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have a big responsibility, when we open the start line, they have to go. And it makes me very worried, because I think, they're getting really low and they're all together. Everybody's following each other maybe. But then they start to spread out.
Yep.
And now you see pilots making individual decisions. You see pilots making their own assessment of the situation. And it's much more relaxed now. They've been flying long enough to have a rhythm. They understand what's happening. They're not really taking any risk. They're just taking it easy, and they're just motoring to try to get home.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because Thilo Ligaus, who is leading now, he was at the end of a chasing pack a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And he just took a decision. I know that Thilo is really in a comfort zone to make this kind of slope, ridge running, not on the top of the peak, but below the top, because he has some landing possibilities below, so it's okay. And he's really, really good, and really, so his mindset is, okay, I know it. It's okay, I can do it. So he's trying, he's pushing, because he knows that also today is race 2, and we have 2 more races, tomorrow and the day after. That's all. And for now, he has 0 points.
Yeah, Thilo is a free atom. He goes his own way.
Yeah, so
but it doesn't always work.
No, it's a bit of risky.
It's not so good.
It's a risky, sport risky thing. But yeah, he loves that also.
But he has no fear.
No.
he's very happy to say, this is what I want to do, I'll try it and I'll just go. But you know, we saw Luca taking a bet on his fez.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched him cross the valley lower and lower, and you could see he was thinking, I can just slide around the corner of this hill and maybe I'm in the lift, and if you don't quite make it, I just turn on my fez.
Yeah, but this is for e-glide.
Yeah, but he was trying to make his fez work for him, in the sense that he was allowing him to make a decision which you couldn't have made if you were having an ordinary turbo.
We are talking a lot about the pilots and the mindset they have. Before closing the cockpit and then in the air, you have a lot of influence for the pilots. And this kind of sky, this kind of low, slow winds, so not a lot of energy, and then the influence of the pilots around you and what they are making as a decision. This makes everything in the cockpit and between the 2 ears, again in the brain, this makes a lot of question, and then you have to make a choice and to make it the best from this. And this is not easy, especially when you have these kind of conditions.
Yeah, I know what you mean, Benj, and it's really difficult to get yourself into the right frame of mind. Psychology is really important. And if you are prepared for a flight which is going very fast, and you're prepared for a flight where you expect to fly high, and then you get a low-level flight like this, you have to completely change your mindset. You have to totally change from one of pushing and trying to race to one of survival, being very careful. You know the old parable of the tortoise and the hare?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's that sort of day.
And you don't have a lot of time to change your mindset. It's really violent in the cockpit. You have to flip the things.
That's right. And certainly we are going to see a very worthy winner at the end of the day. I'm just touching wood, praying somebody's coming home.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and that we have winners today, and it will be a very worthy winner. They will have done a great job.
So we will have a great adventure to explain to us.
Yeah, I'm sure so. So maybe you recap with us, Benj, where everybody is now.
Yeah, so if you join us now, we are in the final of this Serie 11 in Pavullo, Italy. It's the second race of day 5. We had to cancel the first days, and the first race was yesterday, won by Stefan Langer from Germany. And today is a complete different day again, and the contest direction made a task A, task B, even a task C, but at the end they choose to make the task B active for today. It was a 160 kilometers length distance towards the southeast of Pavullo airfield. And with some key points we explained before with Stefano Giorzo from Italy, our local hint for all the informations. And we knew that it was difficult, but the weather was expected a bit better. And at the end, the bandwidth of altitude the pilots can use is really thin. And for now, we have with leading back with 3 Victor, Tilo Holigaus. Perhaps we can focus a bit more on Tilo. He's chased by Mike Alfa, Alberto Cironi from Italy, and Sierra and Papa, so the 2 Polish pilots, Sebastian Cava and Lukas Grabowski. Tilo is pushing and pushing and pushing because it's his own style, and he wants to try and push, and perhaps it will work. We will see in a few minutes. The guys behind, they stopped. They stopped and they're climbing now.
And I know everybody wants Stefano to come back with his local knowledge, but at the moment we're losing data from a lot of the pilots because they're so low and behind the hill. So you have to put up with me for a few minutes until they get the data back, and Stefano has his break. And we know that now it's really important to cross this valley with the highway.
Yes.
They're coming to the end of this ridge. I don't know what it's called, but they're coming to the edge of this ridge. And when they get to the edge, it's a long way to where it is landable again. They cross the main valley, they cross the highway, and then they start to come back into the Pavullo region. And here we have some overdevelopment. We have some showers. And they're going to have to not only work out how to manage the hills and the valley, but also the showers on the way back. And Tilo will be loving every minute of this now because there's nobody in front, and everybody will have to follow his decision.
So in the next minute it will be another key point because Tilo is reaching now this valley with a highway coming from Bologna to Florence. And the chasing group behind with Sebastian Kawa, Lukas Grabowski and Alberto Cironi, they took the decision to, okay, we need to breathe now. We need to gain altitude before we are crossing this valley, so we can perhaps reach with more comfort the area we were before, crossing the valley for the first leg. We are on the third leg. They made leg 1, leg 2, and we are the third leg. When you think about the distance left, it's just, we need like 40 kilometers and they're home.
That's right. It's not so far to come
Not
home
so
now.
far.
And if the weather were improving, one climb to 2,000 meters and the game's
It's over.
over.
Yeah.
So Thilo's in a good position.
He's climbing now.
Yeah. If
He's climbing now.
if he comes back into one area with good cumulus and he can get climbed back to 2,000 meters, he should come home fairly easily after that.
But behind, they reach now 1,400 meters.
Yeah, and that's a good altitude. It looks like the rest of the flight should be easier, but there is between where they are and the airfield 2 showers with some spread out cloud. If they can get the altitude to cross those without any problem, then coming home should be easy, but it all depends where they can get the height.
You expect them, after this key point of the highway with the big valley, you expect them to have to go a bit north to avoid the showers, or they can go straight?
No, I think they should go straight.
Okay.
It all depends. If they can climb in the valley before the highway, they should be able to come straight.
Okay.
But
it's
if not, they might need to go north to climb.
Again, it's not a strong cell with front, it's just some showers.
It's just a little bits of overdevelopment and little bits of overcast.
Let's focus on the chasing group, if you can, Sebastian, because we are reaching now a nice altitude, and we can see that Sri Victor also is climbing and climbing and climbing, so it will be... Okay, so Sri Victor is on the top of the screen, so Thilo Oligaus from Germany, and he is chased by Mike Young from UK, Mike Alpha, Alberto Sironi in the bottom right of the screen, Juliet Golf, Eric Borgman from Netherlands, and the 2 Polish pilots, so Papa, Lukas Grabowski, and Sebastian Kawa on Sierra. All this chasing group is around between 1,250 meters and 1,300 meters, so they are together, and they are chasing this guy on the top of the screen, Thilo Oligaus, who now is gaining energy. So perhaps he made a nice move.
Yeah, and it's streeting. There are some lines of energy, and hook up the end of one of those lines of energy, and you can do 20 kilometers or maybe more and gain a little height as you go. And looking at the position of the leading pilots now, we've got quite a good group here. They're all quite fast guys. They're all very determined here, and it will become more and more competitive now. They will want to be there at the first, and we know with the Grand Prix, your time doesn't matter. What matters is your position.
Brian, what is the feeling of Thilo if when they come below him?
Do you know, he probably won't care. He'll probably look down and think, oh, okay, and then carry on. Yeah. He won't worry too much about it. Certainly Thilo's not the sort of guy to suddenly feel very, oh yeah, look at me, I'm in the lead.
No.
He'll be just, okay, let's carry on.
No.
It's a long way to go, yeah.
Perhaps it cost him a bit sometimes to be like that, but still, he enjoy. I have to tell you, he's my boss also. Well, I know he's really enjoying every minute, even if it's not competition in a glider. Even just flying a vintage glider. He's really enjoying gliding, whatever it is.
And we'll try to get Stefano back to talk through the remainder of the flight, because as they're moving back towards Pavullo,
you have to work.
They're becoming more and more comfortable. Okay. Well, I'm interested in what Stefano's got to say, because I'm interested to see where they are going to climb, where it's likely to work for them.
Oh, and Thilo is now leaving.
Yeah, 1,300 meters is more than he had when he came.
That's a point.
He's going back fatter than he came in, which is good.
Yeah.
And you can see they've been through the really bad experience crossing the valley. They're going to be very careful not to make the same mistake again. It doesn't mean to say it wasn't a mistake. There wasn't any energy. Mm-hmm. They tried to climb and they couldn't. They'll recognize that as being an issue, and they will be really careful crossing back to the next valley. I'm very pleased that we have some of the new pilots to the Grand Prix final doing so well.
Yeah, Alberto Sironi is here, Eric Borgman is here, Lukas Grabowski is here.
And Peter Krajcek's doing okay. He's flying very well at the moment from Czech Republic.
12 The 12 is not far away. Yes, we have a mixture of I would say the old guard and the new pilots joining the final. So it's a nice balance. But yeah, Thilo Oligaus leading now. and going to the next slope. Forget this problem we have for November Bravo. You can see the spot of November Bravo is going back and forth. Yeah.
He's the other free atom, but he's random. Yeah. Anyway, Stefano's back. So I go back to work. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Thank you very much. We're really enjoying it.
These guys on the screen are making a good job.
We're going to try and give you another great race tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
The weather's still looking a little difficult, but we'll
good.
make what we can.
Which is good.
Well, it's good for us for watching. I think the pilots would like something a little bit higher.
Oh, after the competition, it will be nice.
Here we go, Stefano. You come back in.
So again, if you join us, we are in this final for the Series 11 of the Grand Prix. We are in Pavullo, Italy, northwest part of the Apennines mountains, and it's the second race. Yesterday was the first race, and this is the second race. We can still race tomorrow and the day after, and then it's over for this Grand Prix, and we will have a world champion on Saturday evening. And we are on this race too with Stefano Giorzo from Italy for the commentaries. Brian Spreckley, contest director, just left the commentaries studio, and we are following the race too with Tilo Ligaus leading the pack now, and chased by some pilots like Sebastian Kawa, #1 ranking for IGC, Mike Alpha, Alberto Cironi, who made third yesterday. Already here is also Eric Borgman on Juliet Golf, Mike Yankee with Mike Young. So all really good pilots together. What do you think now, Stefano? They made the job, it's over, or they still need to find something?
No, they still need to climb. They reached again the highway region, so the pass, Futa Pass. But in front of them there is a plateau with some peaks. They need to overfly and getting altitude for the final glide.
You checked when you were out. You checked a bit the sky in this area from the southeast, how it is or not?
Yes, I checked the weather with a pilot who landed just probably 10 minutes or 15 minutes ago. In fact, the forecast was not really good. We have now a southwesterly wind stream, and very close to the ridge we have Lee, and there is a convergence very close to Pavullo in the direction of Mugello Valley. So I hope they can reach this area and climb under a cloud streets we can see here from the airport, just if you go outside.
So Pavullo is in the central part of the screen now. A bit. Oh yeah, we need to renew this. We'll show you. Okay, Pavullo is. Can we make a spot on Pavullo? Yes, exactly here. And they went to the southeast, to the bottom right of the screen, and you can see these blue spots here. These blue spots on the right of Pavullo are rain spots, and they should be able to avoid this rain spot, because these rain spots, they already passed the path where they are. So it should be okay.
Yes, but by the color is this rain, is drizzle or very, very light anyway.
You did not see any big rain?
No, I didn't see any rain, so I think the weather improved a little bit, and it is a convergence line. So they have to overfly. You see now on the screen this collection of peaks, and get the altitude. The other side is landable, but in few places.
Yeah,
we will see later.
We see 3 Victor leading, and he's chased by Mike Alpha, so Alberto Cironi, Juliet Golf, Eric Borgman, and there is a key point now, because I can see Sierra. So Sebastian Kawa is making again on his own something, and I don't know why he's going much more west and not northwest, following the pack. He's gaining altitude, so and he's just out of this big basin valley, which was on the top point 1 and top point 2.
The problem is flying more to the south.
Airspace, no?
No, the airspace is more or less here.
Okay.
So it's not a problem, but to cross, you will need more altitude rather than the other flying to the north. So if you fly this way, it's easier to come into this valley, Porretta Valley, while here is the ridge higher, and he has to fly to climb higher to cross over.
Okay, so we will see in a few minutes if Sebastian Kawa is able to cross over this ridge like a wall in front of him. He made the decision to make it a bit to the west, so more inside the highest peaks, and we will see if it works or not. I believe Sebastian is the most experienced pilot around, and he flew everywhere around the world, and perhaps he saw in the sky, he's gaining altitude. He was at 1,000 meters, he's now at 1,100 meters, doing, I say nothing, but no, he's doing a lot of things. He's making his path, and he's trying to get the best of the slopes below him and of a cloud base above him to chase the energy lines and to gain altitude. So he took a different path, again, perhaps because he knows that he wants to win or lose. I don't know. We did not check his mindset for now, and we'll have to ask him. Do you really want to lose, or do you really want to win? And the way you win is perhaps to make it a bit more risky. I don't know, but he's gaining altitude.
No, he's here.
Yeah, he's just before the highest peaks in front of him, and he's following. Perhaps we can go with him on the 3D to have a more real-life view. Yeah, it's difficult, yeah.
Yeah, you see the ridge in front of him.
And now he's circling.
Yes.
Yeah, he stopped to circle.
This is a good
and he's gaining altitude, yeah.
a good area for climbing. We use that little hill when we come from the west, not from the east normally.
Okay. But it's one of the key points you use to pass from east to west. And
exactly.
Okay.
Sometimes is the air mass better in the Mugello Valley rather than on the main ridge. So we glide to the sun side and we reach that hill.
Okay, so Sebastian Kawa took the decision to be more inside the ridges, and now he's climbing good. And let's focus on the leading group with 3 Victor, Tilo Holegaus, joined by Alberto Sironi, Mike Alpha, and so Tilo is also circling to gain altitude. Alberto Sironi is already at the same altitude as Tilo, and I think he will join. And Eric Borgman at the bottom, Juliet Golf, is also joining. Mike Young is here. Charlie Tango, Klaus Kalmbar is here also. I don't see the winner of yesterday in this group. No, I don't think he's in this group.
So if the wind is blowing from southwest, it means that the area of Porretta is in the lee.
Yeah.
And that's why probably the first glider we have on the screen is now pointing to the north.
We have to go a bit further to the north.
Yes, because the air mass will bump again up. So they have to fly around to get the altitude, because here is a kind of, I would say, lee, not
draft, yeah.
Downdraft,
yeah.
yes.
When we are making races like this in mountain area, and you are close to the slopes, like we are today, because we have not a lot of altitude, the influence of the slopes is really strong. Even if the wind is weak, like 5 knots, so 10 kilometers, something like this, if you are on the, I would say, the wrong side of the mountains, you have what we call, okay, the wind is coming to the slope, it's going up, because it can't go through the slopes, and then behind the slopes, it's going down, and really down and fast. And so that's why the pilots, they want to avoid this downdraft, but the air will bounce again after. And so they need to find this bounce to make easier life for the thermals columns to reach higher and higher.
Mm-hmm.
So these guys, they took the decision to go a bit further to the northeast, so a bit further from the high peaks to use this. And Sebastian Kawa made completely different.
So he flew the ridge and he climbed flying straight. He was up to 1,300 meters, but now I think he will also fly into this downdraft.
So we are passing the lake of?
Suviana Lake.
Suviana Lake. And on the top right of the screen, you can see the distance left to the finish line. So they are just short 25 kilometers to the finish line. We talked with Brian about the amount of energy you need to make this finish line. In a flatland area, it would be, okay, I just need, I would say, 700 meters and above the ground, and I can reach my goal. But here we still have plateau, we still have some slopes, and it's not over.
If it is windy, as we see here in Pavullo, they have to pay attention to downdrafts and turbulent air mass.
So it's now 1 hour and 20 minutes we are flying, something like this.
So
And
let's see how many Ks 3 Victor to the finish line, please.
you want to see 3 Victor too?
The distance of 3 Victor.
On the top right of the screen.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, 23 kilometers.
So they
to
have to climb.
Yeah, we have to climb. Yeah, sure. And we can see that Sebastian Kawa with Sierra at the bottom of the screen is reaching and catching up this group now. So he made a nice move, a nice decision to invest much more in the mountains to gain altitude, and he will be able to catch up these guys now. So leading group, 3 Victor, Tilo Oligaos, followed by Mike Alpha, Alberto Cironi from Italy, Juliet Golf, Eric Borgman from Netherlands, Mike Young from UK, Sebastian Kawa in a nice position now with some extra altitude compared to this group, and just behind. And I think we have Peter Krejcik. No, we have Klaus Kalmbar, sorry, Charlie Tango a bit behind, with Lukas Grabowski from Poland. They are at the bottom right of the screen, and I think they are investing a bit of time to gain altitude. So definitely all these pilots are too low to reach the finish line, so we need to find something in the next minute. It's difficult for now because we are, I don't know in the mindset in the cockpit would be, because they are okay now to fly low. It's a long time they fly low. So it's now a new habit, and it's a new style, and they are okay with flying low. But still, the difficulty is if you fly low, you have no choice.
Yes, but because they flew so long and always at low altitude, I imagine that they had mini clouds on the way. So that could make it more comfortable.
So you think in the cockpit for now, because it's 1 hour
so
and
they
30?
they had the clouds all along the way to the turning points, and that's why they were confident to fly so low.
And this is interesting. Thank you, Sebastian. So Stefan Langer made a completely different way. He's just 10 kilometers more distance.
And this is the convergence we saw when you spotted the rain, let's say.
So between these two groups, we think there is some rain. There must be a rain spot.
The rain is
already on the right of Stefan Langer.
Of Stefan Langer,
okay.
Yes.
And so Stefan is 1,500 meters now. So he's gaining and gaining and gaining. I think he's making
final glide.
Final glide, yeah. He wants to gain enough altitude to make a final glide. He's 10 kilometers more distance to the finish line, but perhaps this kind of tactics to be a bit more conservative and to make this detour and then gain altitude will be the key of today. We will see. If the guys in the front, like 3 Victor and this chasing group, they find a thermal now, perhaps it will be really, really tight.
So still climbing Sierra Lima, Stefan Langer.
And now 3 Victor is gently climbing with like 1 meter per second, yeah. So Tilo Ligaos leading the pack, joined by Sierra, so Sebastian Kawa, and I think Sierra is a bit higher compared to Tilo. We will see in a few seconds. Mike Yankee is here, Mike Young, Juliet Golf, Eric Borgman is here, Alberto Cironi is here, but quite no, it's okay, 900 meters. They are all on this small peak, small ridge, going to the plateau. I think everybody is happy. So Sebastian Kawa is highest, 1,050 meters. Tilo Ligaos is a bit below, 940 meters. Everybody is climbing, and this will be really interesting to see what's going on with Stefan Langer from Germany, who is much more on the northeast from their position and much higher. So Stefan Langer has 26 kilometers to do, and these guys are just 17. So 8 kilometers difference between these two groups of Sebastian Kawa now leading this group with 1,100 meters altitude. followed by Thilo Legaus, and Stefan Langer is on the glide. Stefan Langer is making the final glide now. I think it will be really tight. If Sebastian Kawa is able to climb enough to make also the final glide, it will be really, really tight. It is just short 1,100 and 1,200. We have some bad signals sometimes for the altitude, but you can see that he's climbing still. It's weak, but it's steady. You can climb and climb and climb. Stefan Langer 1,500 meters altitude, and Sebastian Kawa reaching 1,200 meters. So Sebastian has 17 kilometers to do for the final glide, and Stefan Langer has 24, so still 7 kilometers difference. Yeah, it's really, really tight. It's interesting. So 7 kilometers difference, which means they will lose like 25 to 30 kilometers to make 1 kilometer's distance.
Yes, I would say in time it means 2 minutes, 30 seconds, which is not much.
So Stefan has 2 minutes 30 seconds to be at the same distance.
I would say yes.
Yeah. So Sebastian has
and
200.
Because they are not climbing so fast, so
No.
good, I think he has an advantage.
But now Sebastian, I think, is reaching 1,300 meters. We have some bad signals, so it's a bit evolving for the altitude, but I think he reached 1,300 meters, perhaps a bit higher now. So I believe Sebastian will be in a better position. We will see. It will be also
The only
interesting.
question is, what about the wind? Because he has to cross, and then it will be in the lee for a while before reaching the finish line. And then exactly before the finish line, there is another slope. We will see. I cannot
Can
tell
we focus
you.
on the group of Thilo Legaus, just to check the altitude and how they climb?
By now, we lost the link to Sierra Lima, to Stefan Langer.
Yeah, for now we are. Oh, and the group of 3 Victor is struggling to gain altitude. Only Sebastian was able to climb easily at the end, and now he's reaching 1,400 meters. But these guys, for now, they are stuck a bit. They have to wait, be patient. Only Sebastian was able to climb, and I think he will be really close to final glide now.
Yes. We don't have any updated information from Sierra Lima.
Stefan Langer, I think
Yes.
in a few seconds we will have some information, yeah. So again, if you join us, we are in this final of Grand Prix Serie 11 in Pavullo. It's the second race, and we are really, really close to the finish with 2 groups. I would say 1 group and one pilot alone, Stefan Langer, who made the decision to make a strong detour to the east compared to the other pilots. Sebastian Kawa made a small detour more to the west, more in the ridge, a few minutes ago, and it seems to pay off. And the leading pack, who was led by Thilo Legaus from Germany, is a bit stuck in between, and they have to make a bit more time in this point now to gain altitude and to be on final glide. Oh yeah, so Stefan Langer is on the right of the screen, and is chased now by Sebastian Kawa in the central part of the screen. I think they are really, really tight now, but Sebastian seems to be higher, and he has still a bit of a small reach, but it's lower, so no problem. But it will be really tight, yeah. So again, Stefan Langer made a strong move. Perhaps he made some mistake before, so he made it a bit different, and it seems to pay off. And Sebastian Kawa made also a bit of a difference a few minutes ago to be a bit higher and to be able to catch easier the thermals where the main pack is on the bottom left of the screen now. And they struggle a bit to gain altitude, but now it seems to be more steady for this pack.
So Kawa is well in front
Kawa is
now.
winning, yeah. Sebastian Kawa from Poland is winning now. It's clear. He has an advantage of 140, 180 meters compared to Stefan Langer, and he's closer to the finish line. So this seems to be safe for Sebastian, except if you have a lot of penalties. But he's a professional pilot, so I think he will avoid any penalty. Stefan Langer seems to secure for now second place. which will keep him on the top of overall score if he has no penalties. And we will have to focus a bit on the chasing group if they are gaining altitude. I saw that Lukas Grabowski was joining this group from behind, perhaps a bit higher. So these pilots are trying to secure the third place and to fight for the best of this group, for the third to the seventh place, I think. Mike Young is struggling at the bottom of the group. Thilo Ligaus is now the highest with 1,340 meters. Alberto Cironi is with him. And I think it's Juliet Golf, so Eric Bogman from Netherlands, also same altitude. So we'll have a strong finish between these three pilots. Mike Young and Lukas Grabowski are below, struggling a bit to gain altitude, but still they will be in the top 10. We can go back to Sebastian Kawa, reaching the...
About 10 kilometers to the finish line.
So there is a control point, which is on the top of the plateau
this
here.
Is alignment turning point?
No, not really. They will go across the runway.
Yes, I mean, the last turning point is just to align to the finish line.
Oh yeah, thank you, Sebastian. So just for today, as we are not finishing straight in the same orientation as the runway of the airfield, they are going cross. So we have to raise a bit the altitude limit. They need to cross the finish line at 900 meters minimum. So we'll have to check that Sebastian is crossing at this good altitude, but I think he has enough energy with no problem. Stefan Langer, we still have 9 kilometers to do after this control point.
Very close.
Yeah, it will be very close. So Sebastian leading clearly this race 2 of this Grand Prix, 1,140 meters. I think he's flying 210, 220 kilometers, so he's flying really fast now. And he's quite sure that he will have no problem to reach the good altitude. You can see Stefan Langer at the bottom right of the screen. You have a lot of information, and he's not cruising at all at this speed. He's just using 130 kilometer per hour speed, which is really close to the best performance glide ratio of glider.
Exactly. And the goggles behind him, they are pretty high, and they may reach or catch him.
So yeah, Stefan Langer he has to fly slow because he knows that if he's too low, he will have a lot of penalties. But he's able for now to keep altitude of 1,140 meters. He's chased by Sri Victor Thilo Ligaus on the left part of the screen. I think Alberto Cironi is there, as also Eric Bogman from Netherlands. Yeah, they are all together with 1,400 meters, and they are chasing Sierra Lima. Stefan Langer, we can go to Sierra just to show him, I think, on the finish line.
If Stefan Langer wants to cross the finish line at the right altitude, he needs to have a glide ratio of about 40-1.
Whoa.
So this is what he needs.
Okay, Sebastian soon crossing the finish line, followed by Stefan Langer. Congratulations to Sebastian Kawa from Poland. Again, he's #1 ranking overall for IGC, so he's the best competition pilot around the world for now several years. He's multiple world champion in plenty of different categories of gliding sport, and you can see, he's landing now. You know that we have a bit of difference between the real time and the tracking, so it's normal that you can see Sebastian now landing on his 1-2-3. It's a 1-2-3 of Stanisław Biela, who is also a new generation pilot from Poland, and Sebastian used it in the last European Championship, and he's now using it also for this Grand Prix, and he will join Claire gently for the interview. They will pull a bit his glider. Let's go back to the 3D for now. So Stefan Langer, we need to check if Stefan is able to reach at the right altitude, please. The 3D. I need the 3D. Thank you. It's okay. Seems to be okay. So Stefan Langer is 1,050 meters, so I think he will be able to cross the finish line with no penalty at all. And he's followed by Sri Victor Tilo Ligaos on the left part of the screen, who is pushing and pushing and pushing. I think they have a completely different speed, but now Stefan is much more secure and he's pushing also with 170 kph. So Sri Victor Tilo Ligaos is followed by Mike Alpha Alberto Cironi and Juliet Golf Eric Borgman. Eric Borgman is trying to push and push and push also to overtake Alberto Cironi, so we'll have a really tight finish between these two pilots. We will focus on them. It seems to be secured second place for Stefan Langer for this second race, so he will make 8 points more for over a score, and so he will comfort his leading points. But Sebastian Kawa definitely reacted to his mistake of yesterday, winning the day. Again, we will have to check that everything is okay, no penalties, but it seems these two guys secured the top 1 and top 2 place of the day. Congratulations to Stefan Langer from Germany, 26 years old, I think. Really, really great pilots from a German team. The new generation is pushing hard. And we have Claire live with Sebastian Kawa.
So, Sebastian, congratulations. He was very difficult, apparently. When did you decide to follow Tilo Font?
He gave us a lesson in the I think it's the first leg, yes. And he followed the mountains, and he was faster than the gaggle trying to climb. So on the way back, I decided to do the same. I don't know why, but after the first turn point, I was able to catch up with the front, because initially I wasn't lucky enough that we had a bad patch in the middle of the first leg, and there was a ridge, and I don't know that area. I've been there for the first time in my life, so I don't know these mountains. So I tried to climb, and it turned out it was not necessary to climb. It was only ridge, and we should have ridge following. But the decision that made me win was to jump to the one ridge left on the way back. And because there were fresh clouds, and the path that Tilo decided to go, more straight, was already in the shadow. So I, flying in the good air, was able to, although I did some kilometers, I was in a better altitude at the last thermal, and I got 2 meters, and they had not so much, so that made me win today. But I don't know what Stefan Langer was doing, because he was very close. That's the question.
So you did not see him. He was climbing a bit north of your position, but at the back.
At the back. Okay, I couldn't see him, but there were some options, so good for him.
Sorry to talk about that, but yesterday you took a decision last minute. You were with a leading group, and you decided to go in another direction, maybe to win. What was your mindset?
I still have needed about 100 meters more, so I decided to go to the right, because on the way up we had 3 meters there, and on the way back there was nothing. So that's the misfortune for me yesterday, but it happens.
Yes, and today you did really well.
Yesterday I had a very bad day. There was all alarms, all flarms, and all the stuff noisy in the glider. So I didn't know what's going on. So I didn't realize in the right moment that I'm second, and I should keep the position instead of trying to do something else.
That's okay. In Grand Prix, every day is a new one. And congratulations for your daily win. It was Sebastian Kawa, winner of 2 days.
Yeah, we are back. It was really nice to talk to Sebastian. And before we go back to the race, you can see the question of Claire already about the mindset, and you can spot also the words that Sebastian is using between misfortune a bit of misunderstanding. There is a lot of things about what I can understand of the environment I have around me, what I can take as a decision about this environment, and also if you have some aggression. He talks from yesterday about all the alarms he had in the cockpit, and this was enough in his mind to disturb him. And at the end, it was not clear, but he was able to just keep the second place and make it safe yesterday. Today was different. He was talking about fresh cumulus at one point, which made this nice move he made to the left, a bit to the south compared to the others. And the fact that Stefan Langer made also a really nice move to the north. So these two guys made a bit different, and this was the key. Let's go back just to follow on the 3D the finish from the third pilot to the fifth. So there was Thilo Legaus, I think, leading the pack, yes. So Sebastian Kawai made first, Stefan Langer made second, they secured top 1 and top 2, and Sri Victor was third on the finish line, followed by Mike Alpha, Alberto Sironi, and Eric Borgman. And if you can focus on Eric Borgman and Alberto Sironi, because I think it will be a really tight finish between these two pilots. So Mike Alpha is Alberto Sironi. On the top of the screen, he's flying a Schleicher AES 33, the last glider from the last generation from Schleicher. And Eric Borgman is flying a Jonker GS3, Jonker Sailplane GS3, also a last generation glider. And yeah, they are super tight. Same altitude together, so Thilo is a clear lead for the third place. It would be, I think, a no problem for him to make the third place. But still, these two guys are wing to wing. You can see that it's reality. Okay, the gliders are a bit bigger than reality, so they are not so tight like this. But they are trying to make the best to win, because they know that it means numbers of points. And Thilo is secured with more altitude. These two guys are really close to the 900 meters. They can't go below 900 meters even before the finish line. So they are pushing and pushing, but now they are just, I need to keep my altitude. I need to keep 910. And now it seems that Alberto Sironi is making away from Eric Borgman. Yeah, Eric perhaps understood that it will be impossible to overtake now Alberto Sironi. Yes, and the gap is going up and up in distance. Just 100 meters distance. 100 meters is, 2 seconds. This is 2 seconds difference, 2.5 maximum. So after 1 hour and 40 minutes of flight, you get Alberto Sironi 4th and Eric Borgman 5th of this Grand Prix race 2, day 5 for Pavullo. Charlie Tango is joining on the back. So this is Klaus Kalmbar, from Germany, who made a 4th place yesterday, so he will make some points again today. And there is also a race for the next points between Papa at the bottom of the screen, so Lukas Grabowski from Poland and Mike Young from UK. It seems Mike Young is a bit higher and a bit in the lead compared to Grabowski, but we know it will be also really tight, so let's follow them before we close the stream and the live of this race. Again, congratulations to Sebastian Kawa, who won the day today. Congratulations to Stefan Langer, who was able to make second place today also. We have already 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finishers. Klaus Kalmbar will be the 5th. And there is a race between Mike Young and Lukas Grabowski. And Mike Young seems to take the lead clearly now. He has a bit more altitude and he's in front of these two gliders, two pilots together. Yeah, I think Lukas Grabowski will have to reduce the speed. Not sure. Quite the same altitude, 950 meters. Lukas flying 230 kph, Mike Young 226. Wow, this is really, really tight. So Mike, perhaps Lukas will have a bit of penalty if he's below the 900 meters threshold altitude. These guys are really, really close to some penalties. Wow, there will be a photo finish. There will be definitely a photo finish between these two pilots. Perhaps Grabowski made it before, but we will see if there are some penalties. Okay, we will stop the stream in a few minutes. If you have some questions, please use the social media, use the chat on YouTube, so we can ask a question to the pilots. And follow us every day on YouTube, follow us every day on the website. You have a lot of information about the pilots, about the schedule of the day, so the program of each day, at what time we start the stream. You have to understand that we are completely related to weather forecast and to real weather we have here in Pavullo. So we have not a real hard start of the stream, but mainly every day around 13:45, so 1 p.m. and 45 minutes in the local time, you will have a start of a stream. We see you tomorrow for the next race. Brian was here a few minutes ago, and he was really optimistic for tomorrow, even if it was still, okay, it will not be a really standard day again. But we can see that the pilots are adapting to this new reality every day. And we thank them again for this great race. And we see you tomorrow for the race 3 of this final in Pavullo. Have a nice evening and see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.